is a Cosmic Octave original podcast.
Me and Jake running down the street with a handful of comic books, kicking ass and banging chicks and drinking booze
No, not
and
me.
smoking
Not
weed.
me. I'm
Oh,
married.
Yeah, well,
I'm married.
Jake.
Can't do that.
Yeah. Off panel, off topic with Jake and Tyler.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Episode 105.
117.
Really? I'm Jake.
I'm Tyler.
This is episode 105.
105.
Can you believe it? I can't even believe it. We made it to 100, let alone 105th.
Is it just me, or did it take a couple of weeks to get to 100, and it's taken like 7 months to get to 105?
Yeah.
Oh, I just took a vacation. That's why.
Yeah. We don't need to talk about that.
No.
We're
I had
recording.
some good alone time. Let's just say that.
Tyler was on vacation, so that's why we're recording a little bit later in the week.
Yeah. I was sick of you guys. I was like, I need vacation away from our 8 listeners. They're always texting me once every couple of years.
You know what they're saying? They're saying,
Pew pew quip, pew pew.
They're saying, hey, I know you've been doing this for years with no recognition whatsoever, but I personally enjoy you. You know who you are, number 8.
you know what?
Your fucking soundboard blows.
I was looking for a perfect moment to play the right drop, okay?
Brilliant.
So this week is going to be a little light in terms of news because...
Also, I'm exhausted, so.
Well, and...
It's your fault. So.
you were out of town, and the strikes are happening, so there's not a ton of, movie and TV news. I mean, there's some things here and there, but...
more than anything, it's just good to see you.
Yeah.
You just, you make a grown man cry.
I don't know how to take that. But anyway, we are going to it's going to be a Barbie-centric episode, I will say that. Now,
woke.
And here's what's so
Great.
funny. Here's what's so funny about it. We're going to be talking about it with neither of us seen it.
Yeah.
So I'm only talking about the cultural reaction to this movie and how it's kind of just exposes people. And look, we are going to do an extensive Griff report and talk about this because I want to talk about it in a sense of these guys really don't hate this movie as much as they say they do. They're just using this as clout. This gets clicks. Like Ben Shapiro, we have a clip of Ben Shapiro talking about the fact that the video that he did, the 43-minute video that he did,
What a fucking
by the
baby.
way, I didn't pull clips from that because I don't fucking care.
Yeah, what a fucking baby.
I did pull clips from his reaction, and it kind of tells you exactly. He lays it out there. The mask comes off of he was using he made a comment about somebody talking about him.
Don't spoil it.
Well, yeah, we'll get there, but we'll talk about mostly Barbenheimer and that phenomenon. I know
Which is really interesting. I saw a lot of fun costumes on Twitter, actually.
Well, what I find is interesting is the other movies that have a similar thing where Christopher Nolan. This isn't the first time he's done this because. And this will divert us into the Barbenheimer topic.
Well, let's start there.
In 2008, The Dark Knight released the same day as Mamma Mia. That's just one of the more recent examples. So this is actually the second time we've had a much meteor and serious tone of a movie next to a fun movie that's maybe leaning more towards females. It's kind of crazy because you have Batman and then you have Mamma Mia and it's
similar.
Barbie and
Jurassic Park and Dude, Where's My Car?
What?
Same day.
The Lost World? Or
not same year, just the same date.
No, I meant directly competing with each other like Barbie and Oppenheimer were. Because there's a few.
Because I see Jurassic Park and I'm like, dude, where's my car? It's being chased by a Tyrannosaurus Rex. Must go faster.
That was what movie are you watching, dude? Because I don't know what movie, what situation you're talking
when
about.
Sam Neill and
No, keep going. I'd love to hear this theory.
When Sam Neill and Jeff Goldblum are in the
I don't know why I'm letting this bit play out.
They're getting ready for the display, right? And for some reason they have their shirts off and they each have tattoos on their back. And Sam Neill's like, "What's mine saying?" Jeff Goldblum's like, "Dude," and like they don't believe each other. They just keep going. It's great. It's a great bit. One of the greatest cinematic, right up there in comedy history with like Who's on First. You know what I mean?
Well, and the next one that's happening, by the way,
And then Richard Attenborough comes in and ruins it.
The next Barbenheimer.
He's the dad in the movie.
The next Barbenheimer is coming up later this year because Saw X is going to be competing against Paw Patrol, so they're doing the Saw.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
They're calling it Saw Patrol. That's going to be the new meme. That's coming out of this. No, but here's what's funny about this phenomenon, and why I wanted to talk about it. And I don't know why we hadn't talked about it before, but this whole meme kind of actually benefited both these movies very well. Like there's people I know on Twitter that were pulling the Barbenheimer, where they were going to Barbie and then Oppenheimer or vice. Like they were seeing both of them, maybe not the same day, but like one on Friday, one on Saturday situation. I've seen that a couple times. So it is kind of weird that this movie got like a weird crossover audience.
I would say if I had to choose between one of them in the theater, I would go with Oppenheimer, mainly because Nolan's and his DPs, their sense of...
Oh yeah, Nolan shoots for IMAX.
You know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
But that is a hard choice because I have no fucking doubt that Barbie looks exquisite.
Oh, the set designs look, and the costume, everything looks really solid in that movie.
Right. And here's why I know. Okay, so here's the thing. We've said that we haven't seen it, and that's the truth. But here's one thing that I know, that even if I had seen it, I would not be offended by it like so many white dudes seem to be on Twitter and shit. Because I know about most of the stuff that's being talked about in this movie. We talk about this every so often on the show. There's not equality in a lot of ways. And there's a lot of double standards in many ways. And if you're a guy who doesn't get some or all of this movie, I don't know how the hell you're getting dates. I don't know how women are looking past that with you, dude. I mean, that's awful.
Well,
because some of it is kind of fucked up that you don't know that.
The whole anti-man thing is ridiculous.
No, it's just proving a point about how women see the same thing that you guys see. And if you have a brain in your head and a heart in your chest like I do, single ladies, then none of this movie will hurt you or anything. It'll be like, cool, finally, women got to say what we've all been thinking.
No,
you guys haven't been thinking that?
We know how. Look,
how are you married? Not you. You,
Tyler. We know how broke Warner Brothers is. You really think Warner Brothers would actually make a movie that would alienate 50% of the population? Like, come on now.
You know who the real heroes are in this? Mattel.
Oh yeah. For making this movie, taking a chance on this movie.
Absolutely.
And letting Greta Gerwig make the movie she wanted to make.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, from you, I think you said the story or something, but she was, or I read it somewhere, something. But in an interview about it, she was like, her and Margot Robbie, or maybe I saw a televised interview, I don't know. But it was, hey, yeah, we were really actually surprised because we went to them with the movie as is, as the one you see. And they were like, no changes. And we're like, are you fucking kidding me? Did you read it? You sure?
Yeah.
So that's really cool. And you know what? Can we also give credit to Robert Oppenheimer, father of the atomic bomb, for being...
He was a communist.
No.
That was a big problem.
I'm
sure they touch on that in the movie.
Oh, yeah.
We have not seen Oppenheimer either, but...
But like I said, if I had to see one, I would probably choose that one in the theater. I do want to see both of them. And I think, honestly, that would be a really interesting juxtaposition, is which one would you see first? How would you wrap it up? Would you do Oppenheimer and then end the night on a high note?
I feel like you should watch Oppenheimer
and then Barbie
because of how depressing that ending is.
Sure.
Because again, I haven't seen it, but I know history. I know where this ends up.
Yeah, we're not idiots.
Yeah, I know he.
Hey, guess who else knows history but doesn't want to pretend, but want to pretend he doesn't? Ben Shapiro.
Well, what kills me about Oppenheimer is you can't. And I've heard from people that have seen it. It is a very political movie as well.
Yeah.
But because it's Christopher Nolan, these guys don't have a problem with it, and then they realize the real money and the real clicks and impressions is going to be bitching about Barbie, which is funny when you have something like Barbenheimer exist, where I think most people are going to enjoy both. And to what you're saying about Barbie, I think Barbie, based on what I've heard, based on all the things that I've
seen a couple clips. They're fucking funny as shit.
I'm sure it is a feminist movie, but it's not. People confuse feminism with anti-man, or
yes.
they try and muddy that water.
Yes.
Feminists are not people that are anti-man.
No.
They just want equality for women. That's all they want. They want to be treated
Preach, brother.
fairly. That's it. And I hate that they take something like Barbie and make it seem this anti-man thing.
Yes.
When in reality, it's probably, based on all the things that I've heard, it's actually a story about how both sexes are oppressed or controlled by a matriarchy or a patriarchy.
You know what this movie's a lot like to a
What?
lot of the people who are getting clicks? It's like the first black Barbie doll. Or the first black Disney princess.
The first trans Barbie when they had that a few years ago.
Right. You get what I'm saying, right? Like, it's just...
and Barbie's done that for forever.
Ever.
Barbie has been a very progressive toy.
Ever.
Because she's had every different,
Whether you like it or not, All-Star
ethnicity
Ken was gay, dude. He was a gay icon. And
I
still
also
is.
don't give a shit because they're toys.
I owned that
I don't
one.
care.
I had that one. He had an earring. It's really cool.
But it's just, it to me, it goes back to the same shit, and we'll get into that more in the Griff report. I want to talk about the positive things from Barbenheimer.
Bug bites. No, but here's can I? But keep where you're, because I want to make a thing on what you just said about people who are serious about like really good movies. Nolan, if he's coming out with something, you're like, okay, I'm gonna want to see that. And Oppenheimer, I knew about it for a couple years. And I was excited because of the cast. I love, the subject matter is fascinating to me, all that stuff. So I was going to see it regardless. And as far as Barbie goes, I was always like, what the hell is that? And then you and I think we're seeing a movie, or I saw maybe the movie I saw by myself. I can't remember. But I saw a preview for it. And it was like the full on, like, Ken and all that shit. And I was like, this looks good.
Looks funny.
This looks funny.
Yeah.
And none of
It's
it
a
was
silly
like,
movie. Like
none of it was like, oh, they hate men. Damn it.
Again, it's a fucking movie about a doll, guys. Come on. But doesn't matter about what they said, because Barbie made $155 million this past weekend.
Bam.
Which is, I think, the biggest gross of the year. It's the biggest gross for a female director. Also pulled in $26 million this past Monday, which is the biggest for Warner Brothers. That's beating The Dark Knight even on that Monday following that movie. And Oppenheimer still benefited from this, came in second with $82.4 million.
Right.
And I honestly think both these movies are going to have solid second weekends, because I think there's been such...
They're both made for theaters, to be honest.
Well,
we talked about the set design on Barbie.
It's going to go back to word of mouth. Like,
right.
That sets that positive response for both movies, I think, is going to give them legs. And I'm pretty sure in Nolan's deal with Universal for this, Oppenheimer, at the very least, has to stay in the theaters for 100 days.
Nice.
Like, that's what...
Yeah, because
that's what
happened
required
with...
after Tenet.
Yep.
After they fucked that up, he was like... Which is even funnier because...
Tenet is so good.
Even though he dropped Warner Brothers, they're still benefiting from each other because... Again, because of this meme, this phenomenon, people saw both movies this weekend, which is kind of awesome. And
it's sexy.
And I remember everybody was like, "You can't really do that in this era. You can't put movies out on the same day." And this proved, yes, you can. To me, it shows with what's happening with the box office. I think what it boils down to, I think. The popular thing is to hate Marvel now, and to be honest, Marvel has not been putting out their best work post Endgame. I'll be the first to admit that, like, the more I look at these things and view them differently, I have different opinions. I felt differently about Moon Knight. I think there's some really good episodes.
Do you remember how fucking every week we were reviewing that show and like, oh, it's just so good, and then the final one came and we were like, what the fuck was that?
It felt meaningless. Yeah.
That whole journey we went on was like, what the fuck?
We'll get into that with Secret Invasion. But I just think that I don't think there's a big super. People talk about not going. I think audiences are just being more selective, and I think that we're also at a point where we are in with all this inflate. We've talked about this ad nauseum, and which is again why this is important that these two movies succeeded as well as it did this past weekend. Is like, okay, that audiences still want to go to movie theaters. Audiences still want to make events out of movies. They're just being picky, and I feel like a lot of it too is like. My wife especially, she doesn't really feel the need to go see Marvel movies in theaters anymore. She usually just waits for it to come out on Disney+.
That's just crazy.
What? We're getting to that point, I think, in some aspects.
Well, you guys have kid.
I completely skipped. I was going to watch Secret Invasion, but after what we've heard about it, I kind of just was like, whatever. And I think now that we have...
you were kind of like, what?
We also had a little bit of break, too, with a couple movies that were... not superhero related or didn't have this big connected universe or anything. It was just these singular movies.
In a weird way, that includes the Indiana Jones movie I just saw.
I felt like it was a standalone movie.
No, I'm saying like it's definitely not part of a giant shared universe. I mean, certainly
There's five movies, but yeah.
But it's
interconnect.
Yeah, there's no
Disney Plus show.
There's no awesome kick-ass deleted scene in Empire Strikes Back where Han Solo goes under the carbonite and wakes up in Cairo as Indiana Jones.
That'd be pretty wild.
And Indiana Jones was all dreamed by Han Solo while he was frozen in carbonite.
Whoa.
You never heard that theory?
No.
It's a fucking great one. Isn't that neat?
No, but...
Isn't that neat? Tell me, dude.
I'm always torn. I feel when we have these discussions, I'm also torn about this. Well, yes,
like like Natalie Imbruglia.
What are you doing? I want.
You're a little late.
I want these movies to succeed because I want there to be like movies that are still can be standalone and you can just sit in a theater and watch them. But at the same time, I do love that the MCU is interconnected, and now I feel like it's getting bloated because I think like. And we'll get to that later. But
here's a great example.
I think that's also a difference. I think this is the fact that it's just like singular movie. I think that made an impact.
Here's a couple of examples of movies. One movie that I like and one movie kind of series that I don't give a fuck about. But one movie, the Lego movie. That's a standalone. I mean, yeah, it's about Legos and there are a lot of interconnected, characters.
IP and yeah.
Different IP, right? But compared to, say, like Ready Player One, Lego movie beat the shit out of that movie. And that was Steven Spielberg, dude. And then a movie series that...
I would argue it's one of the few movies that actually does the whole IP universe, shared universe thing correctly.
A little bit.
Before Space Jam and all that shit.
Now there is a spin-off movie, at least one spin-off movie that has been made from this franchise, but only one so far, and it's Fast and the Furious.
Oh.
Unless you count Tokyo Drift. Is that considered a spin-off? Because it's not...
that's canon. It's all shared.
Okay.
That's why there's 10 of them. It's going to be 11 and 12 of them.
Eat my shit.
There's too many. I dropped off after after Fate of the 8th movie.
I don't give a crap about those movies, right?
Who should? You know what I mean?
A lot of people go and see those. And here's the thing. Whoever makes those movies, they make them for people who love movies. And whatever I think about these movies, I guarantee you, they're fucking full of spectacle, dude. Now, in terms of art...
Oh, they're fun because they're ridiculous.
Right. In terms of art, I probably prefer a Mission Impossible over a Fast and Furious. Both are going to be action-packed with jaw-dropping, original, over-the-top action sequences that you're like, I can't fucking believe how... I don't know how they did that. But for some reason, Fast and Furious is, let's get drunk and ride around my truck. And Mission Impossible is, you know what I really like about this De Gaulle, as I sip this wine at this art opening that we're at, is that it really gives me a fucking boner. You know, that's the difference between...
That's like Barbie and Oppenheimer, dude.
Do you like how I brought that around? You're welcome.
I'm trying to find
Let's go ahead and quit the show now, because that's enough. We don't need to do any more this week.
Wrap it up.
That was just perfect.
To wrap up this topic, Mamma Mia versus The Dark Knight. Yes, that would happen July of 2008. So the Dark Mama, as some might call it, or the Dark Mamma Mia night. I don't know. I just made that one up. But there's a few more.
The Mama Night.
There's a few more examples. This is from GQ. 2003, X2 was released the same day as the Lizzie McGuire movie in 2003.
Interesting.
In 2015, Mad Max Fury Road was up against Pitch Perfect 2.
Interesting.
Which I saw Fury Road in theaters. Like, that movie made a lot of money.
That movie kicks ass.
Yeah, so that's...
I've never seen any of the Pitch Perfect.
There, and then, of course, coming up later this year, it's going to be Saw X versus the new Paw Patrol movie. Saw Patrol is it's coming your way, folks.
How much more can you do?
It's just interesting when they release movies
it interesting?
Of two different tones.
Yeah, it is.
So
I thought you were talking about Saw, and I'm like, no, it's not.
No. I don't care about the Saw movies anymore. All right, so...
I mean, come on!
Let's move on to the Griff Report.
Producer, seducer, fever reducer.
Is that what you're calling me? Because of my shirt?
Sexy.
Yeah, the Griff Report this week is going to be most of the show, to be honest, because we're going to talk again. We're coming at this angle of just we got to laugh at some of this shit because we haven't seen the movie. These people have, but my critique is just how they are approaching this.
Yeah.
And I don't agree with the rhetoric they're espousing. Not liking the movie is one thing, but then saying some of these things like this OMB reviews guy is like, ugh. So yeah, we'll get into it. So Barbie comes out. Good Lord, man.
I have some issues.
I had to mute your mic for a second.
Oh, I had to mute my mic for a second
dude.
because I just don't know how to remote GBD.
Are you done?
No. Let's go.
All right. So this these first couple clips are going to be from this guy called OMB Reviews. I don't know how if he is connect. I think he's done a few videos on the Geeks and Gamers YouTube channel and stuff like that. So he's adjacent to those type. We haven't really talked about his reviews because none of them really caught my eye. But this Barbie one did because again, it's for me, hating the movie is one thing, but giving these labels to it is annoying. So this OMB guy, he refers to Barbie as the feminist version of Birth of a Nation.
Oh my God.
Of a way to describe what this movie is. I was trying to think, is there a good comparison as far as other films? Like, are there similar tropes? Are there maybe similar concepts or mindsets or similar ways in which you present information that is completely inaccurate to the real world and just a complete and utter fantasy? And then I immediately thought of another film in history that dealt with a different issue, but let's just say in a very similar fashion. So I'm going to go ahead and say right now, first comment about this movie, Barbie from 2023 by Greta Gerwig is the birth of a nation of feminist movies. We'll go ahead and fast forward to 2023, and what do we have in Barbie? We have a completely out of reality take on what the world is through a...
It's just...
This is a guy who likes Birth of a Nation.
He goes out of his way to say that he doesn't agree with the movie.
Well,
but he says it's shot well, but he doesn't agree with the it's.
Everything you say online is right up the alley of the motherfuckers who made Birth of a Nation, asshole. So, who the fuck are you, dude?
Jesus.
Sorry, am I being really loud?
Yes, I was turning on your mic.
Who the fuck are you, man?
No, I agree. It's silly. And it's to me, this movie exposes so much
also,
about...
it's a movie.
Well, yeah. Well, first and foremost, it's a fucking movie about dolls.
Right.
So, but my thing is, this movie exposes their grift because this movie has a little bit of a progressive feminist message, and they make it to this anti-man, man-hating garbage shit. And it's like, no, it's like I said, Warner Brothers, having not seen the movie, I could tell you that Warner Brothers, who is hurting for money right now, would not fucking alienate half their audience, 50%
All right, we'll
of the
finish it.
population.
Is there a little bit more to that clip?
That's pretty much the whole
That's
clip.
fair.
He goes on to finish his review saying that the messaging of this movie is evil.
Again, it's not even that technically this film is the worst film I've ever seen, but the narrative is honestly so offensive. And I don't mean to say I was offended, but
Sounds like you
literally
are, though.
in the way where it completely denies reality. And it
It's a
perpetuates
fucking
this
movie.
lie.
About a doll.
And it's a lie that has been pushed forward by so many college, gender studies professors, third wave feminist professors for decades
Third
now.
wave feminists, love it.
And the fact
Love
that
that.
now this is in a mainstream movie using the Barbie image and the Barbie ideal as the platform to push that image, to push that agenda, to push that radical, insane agenda
Insane.
is just downright evil.
No, you're mad because you used to get turned on whenever you'd find, somebody's Barbies and you took their clothes off. And you didn't understand why you were, like, excited.
Jesus.
Sorry, it is.
Well, and I just think
No, dude, this guy grew up thinking that the Barbie doll was the way women looked naked. And you know how pissed off he was when he finally saw a woman naked and was like, wait. What is that?
yeah.
And why aren't these like perfect and like pointy and like sticking up like
Yeah,
that?
like a perfect physique. Yeah.
And
Well,
so honestly, dude,
I just
it sounds like you've just never pleasured a woman. I mean, like that you've never
Jesus.
I mean, I don't doubt that you've been with women, but I seriously doubt that any of them have ever had an orgasm. I can't
well-
believe that for a second.
Well, I don't know.
I
Probably
mean,
not.
when you're talking about a fucking Barbie movie like that, I can't honestly believe you know your way around a vagina.
Okay.
I can't believe
Stop
that you do.
it. Stop it.
Sorry. No, and I'm not saying anything about his sexuality at all. I'm saying
Yeah.
that you are so wrapped up in your own bullshit beta or alpha male bullshit that your whole idea of sex and foreplay is, I'm going to stick it in. Oh, we're good, right? Okay. And then when you're done, you're done. You don't consider at all that maybe, hey, do you ever like to lick pussy? I mean, it's fun.
Jesus.
That's pleasurable for a woman. I mean, just.
Oh my God.
Well, I'm just saying, dude. I mean, come on. Look, it's very obvious that this
Okay,
guy
we're done with the bit.
just does
gotta
not
We have to move on.
know how to pleasure
We
a
have
woman.
to move on. Stop it.
Unwilling or unable to learn
Oh man. Okay.
beyond his own penis.
I'm not saying you're wrong, but I'm just trying to move this show along. So
You know what I'm tired of? I'm tired of being
Well,
told about this man in the boat.
I'll
What
say-
the fuck is that?
I'll say in a much nicer way of saying that, like,
I'm not looking for that thing.
they can't handle that a movie is not targeted towards them, or it's not a movie made for them. And I'm not saying if you don't like the Barbie movie, you're anti-feminist. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that these guys have the similar approach of feminism is actually a bad thing, and it's anti-man and it's man-hating. It's the same shit. And it's like, it's
No,
not. They
look.
just don't understand. They truly don't understand that feminism is not that. And
No,
I understand.
I'll explain it.
Time out. Let me finish.
Oh, yes,
I understand where I'm coming from here. I'm not trying to speak for women at all because I'm not a woman. I am just saying
You're not?
feminism, based on what I've known with being around the women in my life, it just means they want to be treated fairly. They want to be paid fairly.
And have the same choices and
have the
opportunities.
same rights that I do. And I'm all for that because everybody should have as many rights as possible.
Well, look,
Everybody
I mean,
should be able to live
look,
the life they want to live.
Most of the guys and the few girls that do this bullshit are horrible people and horrible partners, probably in relationships. Just horrible fucking people. And what they don't like about feminism is that it teaches the women in their lives that they don't have to put up with your bullshit, or the men.
And I want to be clear.
that they don't have to put up with your bullshit anymore. And so all the women in your life leave you because you're a piece of shit. And rather than thinking, maybe I shouldn't be a piece of shit anymore, you're like, well, if they hadn't gotten feminist into those feminist books.
Yeah. So after the movies, as we mentioned,
Is that not right?
after
Is that
Barbie,
not fair? That probably
move
true.
on?
It's probably true.
After Barbie made $155 million, OMB had to had to have this rhetoric about it.
Dude, we're just getting started. If you're
this is a
embarrassed
grown
about what I
man.
said about geeks and gamers, get ready, buddy.
This is a grown man
I'm aware.
talking about
and I'm
this
going to tear him
movie,
apart.
being upset that Barbie made all the money.
I got...
The big question mark is going to be, are people going to finally wake up? And that is really the ultimate question, because if people don't wake up, if we don't see a catastrophic loss, or rather a catastrophic drop for Barbie next weekend, what that tells me is a couple of things. Either one, the marketing campaign is so impressive that it's convincing people, even those that have already seen the movie, that it was actually the movie that the trailers promised it to be, and not the third wave feminist garbage that it actually ends up being.
Okay.
Or it means that there's a lot more women in this world that actually embrace and endorse the ideology being perpetuated by this movie. And if that's that second one, guess what? That makes me very, very scared and terrified.
Dude, motherfucker, no,
Tyler,
please.
Tyler, it's a
Oh.
movie about a doll.
I'm aware, but I'm ready for this fuckface.
Go on.
Dude, you haven't spoken to a real woman in like 7 years. Shut the
Stop.
fuck up. You don't even.
What if he's married? You
Are
don't know.
you
I
ready?
don't know.
Are you gonna allow me to satirize the fuck out of this
Go for
asshole?
it, go
Okay,
for it.
good.
Calm it down a
Satire.
little
Come
bit.
start. Okay. Satire starting now. Dude, you haven't even talked to a woman in like 7 years, so you don't even know what they sound like or what do they even like talk about, or seriously, I mean, it's kind of garbage actually. And what are you afraid of? Like, is he married?
I don't know.
Okay, well, if you're already married, then I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, I guess you somehow
It's a
gaslighted her into
movie
thinking
about
that,
a
I don't know,
doll.
but how a woman married you, that's, or maybe she understands the grift and is just cool with the money. I don't know, but whatever. If you're not married, dude, you were never gonna get married, dude. And it ain't because of a Barbie pushing forward a third wave feminist, whatever the fuck that is, which is just fucking buzz speak for I don't know how
Tyler,
to please a woman.
Hey,
What?
when are people gonna wake up? Okay, when are they gonna wake up?
I'm not. Hang on.
You know how much money this movie made?
$1 million, bitch.
A lot more than that.
Every one of
155 million.
every one of these guys is mad they can't get dates because they're the same pieces of shit they've always been, and the shit they used in the past doesn't work anymore, and they're mad about it. It's because you don't grow as a human being and you're a garbage man. That's why women don't like you. Duh. Jesus. And then you blame it on, well, if it wasn't for movies like Barbie pushing a third wave feminist blah blah blah. No, if it wasn't for you being a giant piece of horse shit.
Oh.
That like made women want to crawl like, ugh, get away, like, oh, that's why you
All right.
should understand that you're just a creep.
All right. So we're gonna move on.
But I don't know why you're afraid.
I want you to switch.
Women
gear.
are not
Hey,
banging
Tyler,
down your door, dude.
Tyler, we got a long way to go. So let's bring it down a notch
No,
and talk about Ben Shapiro. Okay, so Ben Shapiro.
I've never seen
Po-
somebody
ha-
use a yarmulke as a political prop. What
If
a
you c-
dick,
Dude,
What a fucking
Dude.
dick. He doesn't even wear it
Tyler,
in public.
Tyler. This guy, calm down, because I really want to drive home this message. Okay, this dude is showing his card so hard,
Oh yeah, no, I've seen the Twitter stuff, but yeah.
posting all that on Twitter, getting 1 point at the time that we're talking about this episode. I think it was a few days ago. It had over 1 million views. And Ben Shapiro himself will talk about why he did this. Like, this is the most obvious clout chasing thing they had this summer. They're like, okay, we've got to capitalize on this Barbenheimer thing, and then we have to like go hard on this. Now, I'm not saying that Ben Shapiro is not allowed to hate this movie. I don't.
No, of
he
course.
has his own opinion. He can whatever.
It's when you start thinking that it's because girls don't like you because of the Barbie movie. Like, no, dude.
Well, one part of the video he complained
That
about,
last guy
in one
is what he
part
basically
of
said.
his review, he complained about the trans actor having a deeper voice than him. It's a trans woman. It's like, dude,
There's lots of women.
my son can barely talk and he has a deeper voice than Ben Shapiro. Okay, let's come on.
There's women who have deeper voices than me.
So it's like, I'm just saying.
There's men who have higher voices
It's a
than
silly
me.
thing to say, but, and I know he tried to do it as a joke, and I just like, come on. It's just like a needless dig at the trans actor. Like, come on, you know what I mean? And it's like, and we're not
No.
pulling clips from that 43-minute review because.
No.
So here's the thing. he posted on Twitter. He released a 43-minute review. Has an intro where he burns some Barbie toys to that review.
Dude,
like,
really?
Dude, he was showing his cards so much. He posted that to Twitter. That got around and shared around. That went viral. Then it led to 1 million views. So good on Ben. He learned how to work the system.
Yeah, but we were laughing at you.
But here's the thing. He released there's a section of his podcast from a few days ago talking about this very topic. And he explains why he did it. The Barbie review.
NBC News says polarizing conservative commentator Ben Shapiro hated Barbie so much he aired his complaints in a 43-minute video review, which included an edit of himself setting fire to Barbie dolls in protest. But the internet has been flaming Shapiro instead. My favorite thing is when they declare the internet. It's like when they say history has judged. The internet. The entire internet, guys. Did you know that? I mean, sure, like 98% of the internet is people watching porn right now, but the entire internet is very, very upset. Many online poked fun at the intensity of his apparent rage, highlighting he went so far as to buy movie tickets and obtain Barbie dolls to burn before he recorded himself protesting it for more than a third of Barbie's runtime. So this is one of my favorite critiques, is where they're like, oh my God, you spent money on the tickets to go see a movie that you reviewed? Yeah. Now let me explain to you how the market works. Do you know how much money we made off of the YouTube video?
This is what I mean. He's like pretty much
in excess of 1.2 million times reviewing that movie. I promise you, it's way more than we spent to go buy those Barbies and some matches and a barbecue. I promise you.
So
he just admits it. He just says
you just admitted that you did all that to get more views. You fucking piece of shit.
You knew, like, it's what I mean is, like, look, everybody comes into a movie with some sort of bias, has some sort of opinion on it because of word of mouth or trailers or whatever it may be.
Also, if you really truly were a reviewer of movies, they would have, like, sent you, like, an advance copy or gotten you to an advanced screening. Yeah. So nobody asked you to review it, Benny.
I'd also like to point out he critiques this movie the way he does. He's also a failed screenwriter.
Yeah.
So, just saying. And then
I listen, Ben. We know we've read the legendary stories about your script going around Hollywood. Alf gets a boner, and you know what I really like is
shocking script
when somebody posted the sex scenes from the script. Man, Ben, you got some issues, buddy. You know what I mean? I mean, we're talking about an alien, you know? I mean, it's weird.
Speaking of aliens, you know that they're real now? Did you see the government said we have aliens?
Uh-huh. Are they clouds?
I don't know what they are, man.
Yeah.
They're out there.
Yeah, who said that?
The government.
Oh, yeah, when was that?
This past week.
Oh, yeah? Who was that again?
I don't know. Let's keep talking about...
Like, who in the government?
I don't remember.
I don't believe you. If they would have outed him, the aliens.
Hey, do your own research.
If they would have outed him, the aliens would have
Ben
come
Shapiro.
and got me already because I'm smarter than everybody here.
I'm 39. I'm a 39-year-old.
He's responding to memes of like people being like, Ben is 40 years old and he made a 43-minute video about the Barbie movie.
Well, he's only 39. Duh.
Dude with a very, very popular show who reviewed a cultural phenomenon that is Barbie. And unlike all of these single women with wine and cats who went and loved this movie, I have 4 children.
Wow.
So, I have a very full and productive life, and I took time out of my busy schedule to watch this 2-hour bleep show. And it was
Can't
bad.
even say shit.
So I was upset.
Can't
and
even
I spent
say
2 hours
shit.
watching a very bad movie that we've been told, is like the greatest movie of all time. The Daily Beast did this too. The Daily Beast has an entire article. Ben Shapiro roasted. The real question I have here, and this is a serious question, and actually has some fairly serious ramifications, is why the outrage over me not liking the film?
It's not.
I'm just confused. So I understand that everybody on the left has this face tattoo syndrome nonsense where you
why
put
we're
something out
talking
that is
about
wildly
you
culturally
fucking
controversial,
douche.
like Barbie. As I said in the review, Barbie is a movie that was marketed to children. It is a movie that, though it is PG-13,
No, it
was
was
clearly
not
marketed
Think of the
at moms
children,
and their
Tyler.
8-year-old girls, because who plays with Barbies? 8-year-old girls. I know, because I have a 9-year-old girl. And so it was clearly marketed at that group. And then it was a bait and switch, because the entire movie is a feminist diatribe about the evils of the modern patriarchy. And so they do this. They mainstream, they mainline in a bunch of left-wing social gobbledygook into a movie that is supposed to be sort of a fun romp through Barbieville. And then when you notice, they get very upset.
So
I don't even know what to say. He just runs himself in circles. I think.
well, yeah. And the fact that he has to
he could be right for all I know. The way he talks about it.
How many times? No, how many? You know how many times we've talked?
He's
about...
not. I know, but
no. You know how many times we've talked about how they don't have opinions. They just have these buzzwords. Like he went so long describing this whole thing of being like, well, it's my biggest problem is it's marketed towards children and it's teaching them that the patriarchy is bad and blah 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 blah. And it's like this, and again, it goes back to this man-hating narrative, and it's just that's not it.
Yeah, you're making that up, dude. You're making up the man-hating.
Probably the dumbest one of all comes from the critical drinker.
Oh God!
And this will wrap it up.
Thank God.
Barbie is like the deformed, mutated rage child of Captain Marvel, Ghostbusters 2016, and She-Hulk. It is pure brain cancer in movie form, and I was genuinely shocked by the sheer, undisguised contempt this film has towards 50% of the human population. Watching this film was one of the most miserable, demoralizing, unpleasant experiences I've ever had as a movie critic.
Have you ever had a colonoscopy, critical drinker? Because that fucking sucks.
I'm so sorry, Drinker, that you had to sacrifice watching the Barbie movie. That
Dude,
was so traumatic.
You know what
you
know what I loved about it is that he took like the 3 movies that like the right wing dudes always.
He did.
Ghostbusters 2016, Captain Marvel. Oh, not the movie, but She-Hulk was the most recent.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just like, dude, you don't even know what you're saying.
Showing your cards, like, come on now.
You don't even know what you're saying.
You're just virtue signaling. Virtue signaling. Good God, I can't
to
talk.
Nazis, by the way.
Yeah.
Nice job.
Good job.
Is there good money in that?
I
guess in the marketing.
I guess. There is,
That's the YouTube executives going, I don't even know about that.
And then I said,
Tiki Watiti.
And you said, what? All right. So, yeah, that's enough Barbie talk. We spent 41 minutes talking about a movie we didn't watch. How are we even better than Ben Shapiro? Because he actually watched the movie.
Because we know that no matter what is in that movie, it's not going to destroy the world, and it's not going to prevent people from getting dates. Just everybody calm down. I mean,
yeah,
that's what these guys are saying. Like, that one guy, I'd be very scared if that means women aren't going to go out with men anymore. Like, what? Like, that's literally, like, that's boiled down what that guy was saying. And he was like, if it's the first thing, I'm not too worried. Which was what? I don't remember. But the second one, which is, well, maybe they don't even want to go. Calm down,
When
dude.
are we going to wake up?
Hey,
when are we going to wake up?
Hey, guys, go to a mall. Go to any... Go to any mall in America. No, go to any mall on a day during the week or during the summer when school's out, okay? Look around. There are still way more guy-girl couples of kids walking around than girl-girl or guy-guy. And besides, like, what the fuck do you care? They're kids. Why are you creeping on what they're doing, dude?
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm saying, like, I work in a store during the day, during the summer, and there's a lot of couples of all ages that come in, and there's still a lot of man-woman couples, guys. Of all ages.
Yeah, straight people aren't going anywhere.
No.
I think we'll be fine.
And you know what I see a lot of too? Two white people. Just, I mean, like, these guys are acting like, oh my God,
the feminism is gonna bring the world down.
I'm never gonna be. You know, it's like,
okay.
And interracial marriage is fine too.
Jeez.
Well, it is.
Well,
as long as you're in love, I don't really care. But
we're moving on, buddy.
Just saying.
Anyway,
interesting to me.
That's enough Barbenheimer talk for the full episode. Again, spent 45 minutes talking about Barbie and Oppenheimer. Yeah, so we're going to be talking. I wanted to kind of touch base on Secret Invasion because we haven't talked about it really on this show.
Okay.
I don't know how much do you want to talk about because you've watched every episode but the finale. And you kind of know what happens in the finale.
Do you want to save this for next week? Because I think next week might be a little light too. Do you want to do a long box? Finish up the show. That's just my thought.
Yeah, I mean, this is a light episode just because there hasn't been a ton of news to be talking
I would,
about.
I would like to. I mean, if there's one thing
we can jump to a long box.
If there's one thing that Ben Shapiro is right about, it's that we are totally copying him and just trying to get clicks off of him.
Oh, we gotta ride those Barbie clicks, man.
Why don't we? So that's why our show is only going to be like 40 minutes this week too, in honor of that douchebag. No.
Well, let's then. Do you have a long box we could talk about? We can go to it right now. We'll do it.
Yeah, I have a long box.
It's a long box. How perfect is that intro?
I went to Chicago this week. And
you went on vacation? That's your long box? That's lame. No, go ahead. I'm joking. You gave me the laser beam eyes, guys.
And
that was good.
I don't know if you've ever been to this place. It's a big blue place. There seem to be a lot of them. Once I started noticing that they were around, and it's called what the fuck? Walmart. I don't know if you've ever seen these places. They seem to be a lot of them.
Wow, really?
Once I started noticing them, I realized they're like everywhere.
Oh yeah.
Have they been there for a while?
There's Walmarts everywhere. Man.
They had like everything in there. I walked in, and right when I walked in, to my left there was like toothpaste and toothbrushes and shit, and then like deodorant, like all the toiletries, right? And then right across the aisle from that, there was like if you just moved into an apartment, there was plates and cups and shit and like silverware and shit. And then like around the corner from that was like bedding and shit. And then they had like an auto section and then toys and a fucking grocery store, dude. It was amazing. And while I was in Chicago that I first saw this place. And I've heard some like kind of interesting things like that people don't really like Walmart. This is the first time I was in there.
The only place I hung out in high school was at the
This is the first time I'd ever been there, and I was just like blown away. So if you ever get a chance to look at a Walmart, again, there might be one right next to your house. You don't even notice if you hadn't noticed them like I had.
You know what? You walk in, the first thing you say,
Woo yeah, woo yeah.
It's just that kind of vibe, you know?
So while I'm driving around Chicago, I'm trying to find a deep dish place, and Lou Malnati's, which is what we got while we were in Kankakee, Illinois.
Oh yeah. It's delicious.
Yes. We got that there. Actually, I don't know if we got that or not. I don't know if they had one in Kankakee. We got a different kind, but it was still really good.
We got deep dish, though.
We got really good, yeah. So my friend's like, hey, go get that. And they didn't open until 4. So I drove to this place called Maciano's. And they were shitty because they didn't even like, there was like nobody in the restaurant, but they didn't even like bring me like water and like, hey, here's the lunch special. Shit. Nothing. Just... We're busy talking about the game last night. Like, what game? It's baseball season, you fucking losers. So I walked out, and then I went...
But did you feel...
I got what I paid for.
Yeah, I hadn't paid for shit. I was like, I'm not going to buy anything here, because if it takes this long to get me water, God knows how old the fucking food is, dude. So I walked out, and I went to another place called Rosati's, because that was a place that I was looking at. And I walked in, and I realized, hey, this isn't a sit-down place. And deep dish traditionally takes about 40 minutes. Yeah. So I'm like, well, fuck. And I go, okay, so, and they're like, hey, welcome to Rosati's. What can we do for you? And I'm like, well, I'd like a deep dish. And they're like, well, first of all, what's your name? And I'm like, Tyler. And they're like, okay, well, deep dish traditionally takes 40 minutes. I'm like, yeah, I thought this was a sit-down place. And they're like, no, sorry, it isn't. So I'm like, well, hell. So I go into my car, and I Google deep dish near me, right? And the next place I see is this place called Pizza Italia. And it's a little hole in the wall place. And there's like 4 tables. And you walk in, and there's a little counter. And they go, what do you want? You want your slice with fries? You want your Italian beef with fries? You want your chicken sandwich? You want your burger? Whatever. And I get a deep dish with fries. And they were like, all we have is cheese. I thought we had some sausage, but all we have is cheese. I'm like, okay, well, I wanted pepperoni, but I'll take the cheese because I want some deep dish. And then they're like, well, we got traditional pepperoni, traditional crust. I'm like, get me one of those too, in addition to my combo with the fries and the drink. And then I'm like, do you have mozzarella sticks? I see that you do. I've been wanting some mozzarella sticks since I got here to Chicago 3 days ago. Can I have some mozzarella sticks with that too? And she's like, yeah, we can do that, sweetheart.
God, how much money did you spend at this place?
$24. So
wow, that's impressive.
So I take and I go and sit down, and they bring it all to me at once. And I don't know if you saw me on Twitter, but I said, hey, I said to the people I work with at the station, like, hey, do you think I ordered too much? Because they brought me out she brought me out a piece of sausage deep dish. She was like, oh my God, we totally have one left. Like, here, saved it for you. And I'm like, sweet. And I'm about halfway done with that thing. Because I didn't really eat breakfast that day because I knew I was going to a deep dish place. I'm like, I want to be ready to.
Starved yourself.
Nah. I had like beef sticks to kind of keep me going, but I wanted to make sure I was right on that cusp of like, I need to eat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not like I haven't eaten in a day, but man, it's about time for me to eat and I'm ready, So I'd eaten like half of my deep dish and it was sitting there and I brought everything else. The only thing I didn't like is that the beer or the mozzarella sticks were either a beer cheese or a beer battered, and I'm not a fan of that. So I only ate like one cheese stick. The fries were good. They were like the seasoned kind, like kind of like, almost like if you straightened out curlies. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not talking about your pubes.
Hey!
There. And then the traditional was fucking solid as a rock. You know what I'm saying, dude? It was really, really good. And just top marks. The marinara for the cheese sticks, even though it was, a beer cheese or a beer battering, whatever, it just did not. But the marinara was good. And I got to give props to the machine. There's a machine in there, and like it like gives you soda. Like it's not like a bottle or a can. I think it's called a fountain thing. But it's
pop?
Sure, but it's really great. And I got 2 Mountain Dews full in that little cup thing because I had to burp to make room, bro. And I got 2 Mountain Dews from that little, you said fountain drink thing, and they were exquisite. They were just really, really good. They tasted like they were right from a can, like on demand, and you were like squirt, squirt, squirt. That's weird. And then you could get ice too.
Clip that. Squirt, squirt.
That's weird.
It's a song.
But
are you done with your travel?
I got to give a props to the Pizza Italia, because nobody that I talked to who was in Chicago or has ever been to Chicago had ever heard of it. Yeah. And it was literally the first place Google gave me after so many fucking misfires, you bastards. And I got my deep dish.
Nice.
And it was good. It made me feel like a... Oh, man.
Oh. Can I go now? Jeez.
I guess.
Tyler's Travels.
Are you really? Yeah. Are you really going to get into it like I did, though?
Yeah.
Okay, let's hear it.
No, I'm not. But
it's not a competition.
Come on.
Come on.
So, recently, I've been playing. So
with yourself.
Wow. I've been playing Call of Duty Cold War. And this game came out like 3 years ago, but it just became available. So if you have PlayStation Plus, which allows you to play online and stuff, you have that game on. You own it. It's like free, pretty much.
You own it. You own it.
I haven't bought a Call of Duty game in years. I haven't played a Call of Duty game in years, but I downloaded it because it's free. And I need to stop because it's sinking its hooks in me because it's actually really fun.
Talking about sinking your hooks in me, and upset.
It reminded me of it's kind of weird because it was like nostalgia, but it's also a modern video game.
So it's the newest one?
No, this is I want to say there was 2 other because this came out in 2020. I'm pretty sure. So there's 2 other Call of Duties. There's Modern Warfare.
Okay.
2, Modern Warfare, and then Modern Warfare 2, and there's another one I can't remember because there was Modern Warfare 2 is last year, but
I remember when that came out. I'm not really. What's the other?
But yeah, I'm pretty sure it was 2020 when.
What's the other war game or whatever first-person shooter? Is there another one?
A bunch. You mean like Halo or something?
No, but it's based on like real life wars and shit. Is it all Call of Duty?
Pretty much. Honestly,
does Call of Duty have versions of World War II and 1?
Oh yeah, there's
in the Pacific.
Well, and then there's Battlefield 1, and there's a bunch. But
that's what I was gonna say.
My point is, that's my thing. I haven't played a game like that in a very long time. Now, Battlefield is different because that's more like team based, and
Right.
Call of Duty is you'll have like team deathmatch and stuff, but it's more of like there are people that are just gonna play by themselves on a team and shit because they don't really
They're gonna
connect.
play by themselves.
Oh, you know it. But I've been playing it a little bit, and I've been getting better at it. And I remember and then it's kind of like this weird drug where I'm like, oh, it's this little rush I get. Like, oh, I remember how fun these games were, and I was actually getting better at the game. And I'm like, oh, I'm enjoying this, And I'm like, oh no, it's like a weird.
If
thing.
if I was ever at a party and somebody was like, "Do you want a bump of like cocaine?" I'd be like, "Yeah," and that's exactly how I'd feel. Whoa!
That's what it is.
Which is
It's
why
it's my version of cocaine.
Which is why I'm
No,
never
I'm just
going
kidding.
to any parties ever again,
I just
unless Jack White invites me.
the game has had improvements, and it had some updates, and I think it works really well. It's really smooth, and it's a funny thing because there's like this big dispute over the Call of Duty license because Microsoft just purchased Activision, which is a huge company, Activision Blizzard.
Well, yeah, Activision's been around since I was playing video games back when I was a kid.
They've always had the Call of Duty license, and
Ah.
so Xbox and Sony were in a fight for Sony saying it's not fair that you own all of these IPs and are starting to cannibalize the the industry,
Right.
and the FTC is useless, so Microsoft won. So Microsoft won, and they're going to get Activision. But they made an agreement. Xbox and PlayStation made an agreement that Call of Duty will stay on PlayStation for another 10 years. And an interesting move, this month, July, they released Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. That's the free game this month. And that's the thing. As long as you're a subscriber to PlayStation Plus and you downloaded it when it was a free game, you own that game.
It seems
So-
like the same thing to me as
But it's Sony also showing the hand of hey, there's still a big player base on our platform.
well, yeah, but also it seems to me it's the same as Major League Baseball being like, you can't watch our games. It seems stupid. If you were making a game, I mean, granted, if it's being funded by example, back in the day when it was a Nintendo game for the Nintendo Entertainment System for the NES,
Yeah.
it was different than another company being allowed to license a Nintendo game, right?
Well, I mean,
Cartridge, right?
Sony.
So it wasn't Nintendo making that game. They were making the Mario games, but you knew the cartridges were not whatever.
It's funny you brought up the MLB.
Why
though.
wouldn't you want your game on more platforms? You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And of course they had Sega had their own and Nintendo had their own. Sorry.
But no, I agree. And
But then they had ones that were
it's
on
funny
both.
that you brought up the MLB and the blackouts and things like that because
Isn't that kind of the same thing as not wanting your
but that's the thing. For the longest time, the only MLB game you could get was on PlayStation, and then just a few years ago, MLB allowed their license to be used on Xbox, so you could download it on Xbox Game Pass, right?
Yeah.
And when you boot it up, it still has the PlayStation logo. So a PlayStation Studios game is on Xbox Game Pass, and to me, it would only make sense. But I feel like there has to be.
Well,
And we're getting in a whole different conversation
I know.
about this, but it's a light week.
Well, your
So,
your long box is really fascinating. I want to get into it a little bit.
Well, no, because there is. I have a serious issue about this because I've been an Xbox user for a while. I've been on that side. I've enjoyed both. I think both are good companies. Both are good.
I think I'm
have
more
a lot
of
of good games.
PlayStation guy.
But here's the thing.
Yeah.
I bought a PS5
Yeah.
over a new Xbox because I just felt like there's more. The exclusives
life's
and the
complete.
ecosystem is better on the PlayStation right now, and I've always been a Sony guy. I have had every version of the PlayStation from PlayStation 1 all the way to PlayStation 5.
I've pretty much been that way too. When I had
And I
stepkids,
had-
they were all Xbox. They were into Xbox.
I had a 360. I still have my Xbox One from 2015.
There's subtle differences between the between the controllers that if you play for PlayStation a long time and then you're suddenly playing Xbox, it's that's weird for a little
but
bit.
I understand the problem is, in my opinion, that Xbox couldn't compete with Sony and their exclusives at this point.
Right.
Because Sony, God of War is everywhere. Spider-Man is doing great. I was playing a little bit of Ghost of Tsushima. That game is fucking awesome. There's so many really good exclusives, and it's funny that PlayStation saw this opportunity to put Call of Duty out for free, a little bit older game, but still has a pretty solid player base. When
Well,
I
here's-
dude,
yeah.
when I was hopping in, and I've been playing it for here and there,
Yeah.
since I've had PlayStation Plus.
Since I've been alive.
I've just been playing it here and there whenever for like an hour or so when I get a chance, and it's always populated. The matches are in quick. Like there's a solid player base there, and I
That's
think
good.
that to me that's an interesting move by PlayStation, kind of showing that like, hey, we can get a big player base on here because they just announced I think a couple days ago that they've released 40 million PlayStation 5s like units out there. Like that's insane.
Well,
It's only been available for maybe like at a mass scale for like 2 years because of COVID.
well, like another great example from like the NES years. Nintendo had Mario. You're never gonna get a Mario cartridge or a Mario version on a Sega Genesis. You're just not.
Yeah.
It's just not happening. But Mortal Kombat, yeah, they're gonna be on both. Why? Because Nintendo, it's. I think it was Activision, didn't they own Mortal Kombat?
It was owned by Midway, and then they
Right.
Well, they
But
went,
the point is,
Midway went bankrupt, and then a lot of those guys made NetherRealm
but they were a
Studios,
separate vendor. You got
and
the
it's
two.
owned by Warner Brothers.
You got the two consoles,
Yeah, so
Sega and Nintendo. They're warring over the market, and you got a Mortal Kombat Midway going like, well, we want them on both. But of course, Nintendo's got Mario. That's their thing. Zelda's a good one too because you'd never find that on Genesis.
No, those games will never be. anywhere
Altered
else.
Beast you'd never find on NES.
Well, you'll never. I don't think you'll see Halo on PlayStation.
you never see Nintendo Kung Fu on Genesis, which was
Wow.
one of the best games in the fucking universe.
All right.
You had to jump just right. You had to jump just right to get those butterflies on that one level, man.
Anyway, yeah, I've been really. It's just been kind of fun to jump into that, and there's a lot to be said. Like, I love that PlayStation has so many like multiple hour single player experiences and open. Like, I like those experiences. I will always love single player games, but every now and then it's nice to just kind of jump in these multiplayer like arcadey style games for like an hour just to relieve stress. Even if I'm getting my ass kicked, I'm still enjoying it because it's like I'm having fun with it. It's been a lot more fun than I expected, and it's kind of weird because I haven't played a Call of Duty game in a very long time, so it was just fun. So
That's
mine.
cool.
That's the long box.
That's a long box for the weekend.
Yeah. Wrapping it up.
Up in the wrapping the box and put a little bow on top for you. Maybe it's red, maybe it's blue. Well, we don't know till we get to the party because we're driving around and we're not
Where we going?
sure where's the driving around to.
Take a left, take a right.
What kind of car are we driving anyway? It's a Studebaker.
Really?
Sure.
Studebaker?
I don't know cars.
Keep playing,
A
boys.
Lamborghini. One of those new favorite
about a
ones
Ferrari?
with the spoiler.
Okay, I thought we were going with
And
Ferrari.
the gull-wing doors. Only 1,500 were made.
Are you aging in real time? Are you like Benjamin Buttoning in reverse? Aging in real time.
And look at the wheels on this thing.
No, you're just a baby.
Yeah.
He shot himself.
He shit himself again on them fine leather seats in that Lamborghini with them gull-wing doors. Off panel, off topic with Jake and Tyler.